Hello everyone. It's been a long time coming, but I finally finished Osomatsu-kun 1966. It is a slice of life parody-ish anime that is comedy based. It is based off of the life of six mischievous children who are all identical, sextuplets even, or sextuplets as it's properly pronounced. And it's old. I don't know if there's some things that aged well or not because I watched it in Japanese and I'm not proficient enough in Japanese to know everything that was going on. And the animation back then was so limited, it was hard to even catch on to context of what would be going on. So if you can find this with subtitles or maybe a fan dub or something, you'd be way better off in understanding what was going on than I was. There were some moments that were more confusing than some, but most of it was really like you need to know what they're saying to know what's going on because they can't really convey it with the limited animation technology that they had back then. As far as the 60s anime goes, I have seen a lot more vibrantly expressed 60s anime. I know people work with what they have, but like even in the 60s, this is pretty low quality for that time. Having seen some anime from the 50s that's more vibrant than that. But there's no telling what's going on in the studio at that time. Or maybe there is telling, we just don't know. Because I'm not really a studio reviewer, at least not right now. But, and it would also be like decades time frame. But, I don't know if I would suggest this anime to anyone just because even if I knew what was going on, it's kind of boring. For the most part, it's just really boring. It's not all of this, like, I don't want to say imaginative because I don't want to insult the piece for what it is. But, like, I mean, it's just like we just do so much more. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should say I've seen anime with so much more, even in slice of life animes or comedic parody animes. But like, again, we have so much more to work with now than we did back then, even in terms of what we reference and stuff. There was a Astro Boy reference in the earlier part of the series. And I'm sure there were a lot of references that I missed due to not understanding what they were saying or understanding the culture. They did have some mythos play in there. And unlike 1988, there's a lot of focus on Hatabu and Chibita towards the end. And I really like the way that they ended the series in 1966 versus how they did in 1988, where they focused on the family instead of focusing on Chibita and Ayami. But yeah, This isn't one of the 60s animes that I would suggest just for lack of conveyance, and it's boring, and it's not very, they didn't really go out there, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen Cutie Honey and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, it was limited, but like, they went out there, and it was like about this badass robot bitch who was like coming to terms with shit, and it's like, this is just like six wacky kids getting in trouble sometimes. And sometimes they talk about the other characters. One thing that I like about this is there's hardly no Totoko. I see why she was so awful in 1988. Because like she hardly got any play in 1966. And I feel like they just didn't really know what to do with her. Because they didn't really do anything with her back then. But Totoko is very much that stereotypical I'm the only girl type of thing. And back in 1966 she was the only girl. I didn't peep a whole lot of other female characters that got any lines like that weren't like adult mothers. Like, this is a very man driven show right here. Like very few depictions of like female characters. So, yeah, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and say I wouldn't suggest this to anybody. But if you want to watch it, like, if you crave old anime and you'll watch it just because it's old, yeah, watch it. And I guess it can tell you how to build a story if you can understand it. With you know, I would take this as like, hey, this is what you can do with limited resources, but with all the stuff that we have now, it's kind of like not really. Like it's definitely a look back into history. It is what it is. But seeing as how I don't have that much to say, I can go ahead and end it here. Thank you for watching. This is my first review of 2020, the first review of the decade. And I love to see what's going to come like forward. See you later.